two words, but when you say them right, a student who has failed 3 times will pick up their pencil and try again. Most teachers think not yet is just a softer way to say fail, a nicer label stuck on the same bad grade. It isn't. Used properly, not yet is the difference between a student who shuts down and a student who keeps going. Today, I'm going to show you what it actually means, not the philosophy, the mechanics, exactly how it works in a real gradebook, the one you're staring at right now. Let me start with a student. I'll call him Andre from grade 8. Andre was working on solving equations, and the early evidence was clear. He wasn't there yet. On the first assessment, he missed the skill. On the next attempt, some of the same gaps were still there. And after seeing that pattern starting to repeat, Andre began to shut down. Not because he was lazy, because the gradebook was starting to tell him a story. You can't do this. And if you change one thing this week, it's this. Stop turning early evidence into a final verdict. Here's what most gradebooks do to a kid like Andre. They record the early misses. They average them in. And they move on to the next unit, leaving Andre behind, carrying a number that says he's finished before the learning is finished. Not yet breaks that cycle. When Andre hadn't demonstrated the skill yet, I didn't write a permanent failing score in the gradebook. I wrote NY, not yet. And here's the difference. It's not soft. It's precise. A failing score says you failed. And not yet says you haven't demonstrated this skill so far. One can become a closed door. The other, that one can keep the door open. That one word, yet, does something a number can't. It tells the student the story isn't finished, and the students can hear that difference. They know when you have given up on them, and they know when you haven't. But here's where teachers get it wrong. Not yet is not a feeling, it's a system. If you just start writing NY instead of F, and you change nothing else, you haven't changed your classroom. You have changed a label. So let me show you what it actually looks like when it's working. This is a gradebook. Watch what happens to Andre across the unit. Quiz 1, NY. Quiz 2, NY. Quiz 3, 74. That's a near mastery. Evidence that he's moving in the right direction, but not enough yet. Quiz 4, 88. Strong evidence of mastery. Now watch what averaging would do to that progression. Those two NYs would drag his grade down to a 40. Andre fails the unit he has been steadily learning through. The gradebook says 40. The evidence says something very different. That's the fraud. The gradebook says 40. The student is performing in the 80s. One of those numbers is a lie. Under not yet, the NY isn't a punishment. It's a placeholder. It holds the space until enough evidence of mastery shows up to trust. And that's an important distinction. Not yet doesn't mean one lucky pass erases everything that came before it. It means the gradebook waits until the student's performance becomes consistent enough to reflect what they actually know. The 74 suggested Andre was getting there. The 88 confirmed it. Together, they told the truth about his learning. Here's a rule that makes the whole thing work. Write this one down. Not yet only means something if the student gets another real shot at it. NY with no way back is just a polite F. NY with a clear route to mastery is an invitation. So every single NY in my gradebook comes with 3 things attached. 1, what specifically wasn't demonstrated? Not study more, but you're losing the negative sign when you move it across the equals. 2, what the student does next, the specific practice, the specific skill. 3, when they get to try again, an actual date, not someday, not see me. No mystery, a direction. That's the part that turns a grade into a next step. And before you tell me you've got 150 students and no time for this, I hear you. So keep it simple. You don't need a new app. You need a column. 1 column in your gradebook for the NY. 1 shared doc or sticky note with the 3 things and 1 entry window built into your week. Friday, last 15 minutes, whatever you've got. The system isn't the software. The system is a promise. I told you what's missing and I gave you a way back. Now I know the question you're asking because every teacher asked it, and so did I. Isn't this just lowering the bar? Aren't I letting kids off the hook? It's the opposite. A 0 is what lets a kid off the hook. A 0 says, we're done here, and a struggling student is relieved to be done. Not yet. This keeps them on the hook. It says, I'm not closing the book on you. You are going to learn this. The bar didn't move. The deadline did. And that's harder for the student, not easier. It's harder for you too, because now you have to actually teach the kid who failed instead of just recording that he failed and move on. Let me tell you how it ended with Andre. The second time he failed, I didn't hand him back a paper with a number on it. I handed it back with an NY at the top and 1 line written underneath. You've got the setup. You're losing it on the negative sign. Fix that one thing and you've got this. He read it. And then I watched this happen. He picked up his pencil. That's the whole thing. That's everything I'm trying to tell you in this video. 2 F's told him to stop. A few words told him to keep going. By the 4th attempt, he was sitting at 88%. But here's what matters. It wasn't one good day. The 74 showed improvement. The 88 showed the improvement was real. What I was looking for wasn't a single successful attempt. I was looking for a pattern I could trust. And once that pattern appeared, that's what went in the book. Andre's grade reflects his demonstrated mastery level, the 80s, not the 2 failures he needed to get there. So if you take one thing from this video, take this. Not yet is not a kind of grade. It's a more honest one. It measures where a student is right now, and it leaves room for where they're going. Here's your Monday move. Pick one student, one kid who stopped trying. Replace the F with not yet. Tell them exactly what's missing and exactly when they can try again. Then watch what happens to the pencil. In the next video, I'll show you why students fail units they should have passed and how to catch it 2 years before it happens. I call them ghost gaps. I'll see you there.